You can see now celebrations amongst people who have been supporting this move. And you can imagine what the reaction would be at the pro-Morsy demonstrations, which are closer to the University of Cairo. So let's turn now for reaction to Gehad El-Haddad. He is a senior member of Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood. He joins me on the phone from Cairo. Gehad, what is your reaction to this? President Morsy is out, the constitutional chief is in, and there will be new presidential and new parliamentary elections, as well as a new constitution.
Well, I think that any doubt left in people's mind that this is a full-fledged military coup should have been gone by now. We have now seen a resurface of military uniform and military junta on the screens of our national television, dictating what they think is right, taking sides in the political spectrum, enforcing personalities on the people of Egypt that have not been elected or even presented their ideas or political programs to the Egyptian people. This is the end of democracy in Egypt. Literally, I mean, at least the first trial of that democracy.
Let me play devil's advocate. Obviously, it is somewhat disconcerting to see a military general making that statement, particularly since state media said that it would be made by a group of civilians, including El-Baradei and religious leaders. But let me ask you this. Clearly, millions and millions of Egyptian people have taken to the streets and they have said that their, yes, democratically elected president has simply failed at the task, has simply not met the requirements of good governance, and has failed the people of Egypt. Has he, I mean, would you not agree that the president is now the recipient of a popular vote of unconfidence, of no confidence?
Well, I would agree if there were representatives to actually say, at the end of the day, this is a president that was elected in office, and the same military junta that is now all the scene have destroyed the parliament, the only backing institution to the president to actually do the reforms that were promised in his presidential program. Even more than that, it's the centerpiece of any democratic system. This is a president from the Islamic camp at the end of the day. Under no circumstances do I expect him to carry a secular ideology. It has to be carried by these that represent these constituencies. Unfortunately, leaders of the constituencies of the secularists and the leftists and the Nafrists and so on fail to show up at all the discussion tables of the president. They cornered the president and not allowed him to actually reach out to them. Even when he reached out to members of their own party, asking them to take responsibility in his government, they pulled them all back. So this was a very orchestrated attempt to make sure that they pulled the legitimacy out of the president, the legitimacy of delivery, out of a democratically elected president.
All right, listen, I need to ask you, Gehad, because the general referred directly to President Morsy's speech last night. He said he did not achieve in that speech what the goals of the people were. And he also said, the general, that actually it was more than a week ago that he met with President Morsy and asked him to promote this kind of national dialogue, and he didn't get that. Did the president simply miscalculate? He simply didn't listen to the will of the people.
Well, let me then reveal on your show right now exactly what happened the past couple of months. Throughout the past couple of months, the presidency has been under huge pressure, not just from internally from the military or even neighboring countries, including countries in the Gulf, but also from Western countries, including countries from Europe and including US. And they exposed extreme pressure to actually include specifically named individuals in his decision-making cycle and to force them on his decision-making mechanism. Now, these are not individuals elected to office. And the fact is that we have seen our military, the military that is financed by taxpayers' money, taking a side in a political fight and using their muscle of arms and tanks and personnel to side with a certain political faction and install illegitimate representative figures onto the head of the state position. At the end of the day, this is a president that, yes, indeed, had many mistakes, but also had many attempts. He had a program to deliver. The government failed on many aspects of that delivery. But we don't change that down the government every time the president does not deliver mid-term. Otherwise, we would have seen so many failures when Bush's terms ran down to 11% in his favoritism. You didn't bring the country down. It's the Congress that does that impeachment. And that's exactly what the president offered to the opposition. Go into parliament. If you have these masses on the street demonstrating, you would sweep a parliament. A parliament can change the constitution. It can remove the president, impeach him. It can do anything it wants. Why are you afraid of it? Let me tell you why. Because it's easy to gather people to say no to an individual. It's very difficult when you give them the responsibility of choice. That's how we brought down Mubarak. We all knew what we did not want. When we started thinking about what we did want, we split. There's not enough trust on the scene anymore. It's all about intentions on both sides.
Gehad Haddad, thank you for your perspective. That is the perspective of a pro-Morsy official and a spokesman for the Muslim Brotherhood. Now,